How's it going, everyone? So hopefully today I'm going to help you out on some Mokka rear brakes. Hopefully save you a bit of money so you can do it yourself. Take the caliper off, take the discs off, unseize anything that need unseizing like sliders, stuff like that. How to get the little centre nut off in the middle of the outside of the disc or hold the disc on, and adjust the handbrake and all that sort of stuff. So I'm Carl, if you don't know, and welcome to Waterside Workshop. So, first tool you're going to need a pair of long nose pliers, and you have to get in here like this. And give these little plastic covers a wiggle. Basically there's 4 of them, or 5 if you haven't got a locker. And you just go down either side of them, pull them off. Pretty straightforward, but quite hard to do without a set of these. You can do it with a screwdriver, but you don't really want to mess up your wheels. You do have to use a flat blade on the one with the lock and wheel nut on. And just gently get it moving from the sides without damaging your wheels whatsoever. Press it out like so. Then you should, if you've got a lock and wheel nut, you'll have a key like this. Just whack on, and then use whatever wheel brace you got to undo your wheel studs. Your jacking point is just here on the sill. If you look under the sill here, and this little back section here, just under there, there's like a straight bit, and then it goes up and over and then along again. In that little up and over bit, that's the bit where you put the jack her up and away you go. So let's get the wheel off and get started. So today I'll just be using the gun. Basically just whack one like so, and that blasts the bolts off for me. But if you've just got a normal wheel brace or the one out the boot, etc, etc, do the same thing. But you'll have to loosen these while the jack is on the floor, so the wheel don't spin like so when you're trying to undo it. Obviously, because I have to work on cars every day, I've got one of these. Simple as that. Your wheel a wiggle, and off comes your wheel. Check your tyre while you're taking your wheel off. Now I know the tyres are good on this one because I've just put 4 on it for this customer. It's just had 4 brand new tyres. Okay, so we're going to get in here next. See what's happening. As you can hear, that's jamming up like that halfway around, and then the other half is slack. So we've got the slack there, and then the rest of it is really tight. That basically means we've got a warped disc, but it's not a problem. We've got a brand new one in the box just over there. We've got a new set of pads. We'll remove all this lot and get going. I'm going to put a headlamp on my head so you can see a bit more of what I'm doing. I'll take you in close and show you what's what. Okay, so this is where we're going to be working. We've got a little disc key there to take out, which is a Torx. We've got to take the bolts off the end of here, the bolt off the bottom of this one here. Now that pipe is right in the way of that, which is a bit of a pain. You just have to get in there and do your best to get to it and take it out just enough to get it off the caliper. We've got to release this cable here and go from there. So I think the first thing we'll do is we'll have a go at this, or we can put the handbrake on and actually undo that. So let's get that done first and move on from there. So you're going to want a couple of things for doing this bit. One, you're going to want a little torque set. As you can see, we've just got a little ratchet with a T27 on at the moment. That basically goes in there and undoes the little nut, but I would recommend getting one of these. Sort of couple of minutes. Warm up, just go around here to the little bolt. Should start to burn off and there's not any rust. And hopefully make it off what you try and do. If you try and do it without, they can snap off, the head can snap off, etc. etc. So I'm going to put a handbrake on because we don't want this to spin. Handbrake right up. Get your little socket and your torques. Let's say T27. And away we go. Now, there's no way that would have come up like that if you didn't heat it up. When you put it back in, you can put it back in with some copper slip or something like that. While you're under the car sort of doing all this sort of stuff, make sure you have a look around, make sure no brake lines are getting caught on things, the ABS sensors are all clipped down properly, nothing's getting caught on the springs, all that sort of stuff. Just have a general look around the vehicle while you're doing that sort of stuff. And try not to touch this if you can help it, just take it out like so. That's how I do it. And then pop it on the floor for a little while because that'll be red hot. Them tools only need to be used again when we're putting that bag in. So we'll get the next tool we need and start removing this caliper. So for this next bit, you're going to want a 10mm spanner. Just wiggle it onto the back of here. They will be a bit rusty, but you just wiggle it on so it goes on. Get yourself a hammer and just gently tap it. Simple as that, that'll loosen off. And be able to just wind it out like so. And the bottom one's a bit more of a pain because you've got the handbrake lever in the way. But all you can do, not handbrake lever, the brake pipe for the caliper is right in the way, so you have to just get it in the right place. Same again. This one you have to just do little bit by little bit until it comes out enough. You can't pull it out because the brake pipe is in the way of it. This pipe here goes down and right in front of it. Which is a bit of a pain on these. I don't know why they've done it like that, but that's how they've done them. Bit silly really. Obviously never thought of the after effect. And I'll show you where we are once you get that undone. Okay, so both bolts are out there. You're going to get your hammer and tap this. As you can see, it's starting to move. It can be really tight sometimes, so I know why this one's tight, because the bottom part of the carrier is seized. This one up the top here is spinning, and it's actually quite free and moving okay. But this bottom one down here is seized solid. Give it a few hits and now I can just get in there with a little screwdriver. And away it comes like so. And what I normally do is this cable here, I tuck it around the other side of the shock, like so, and then you can bring it around the back of the shock, and you can rest it around there, here, where the spring and stuff like that sit. Cool, yeah, that bottom carrier is absolutely seized solid. Just like the other side was when I done the other side. I actually had the same problem with the front as well. There was a seized carrier on every single corner of the car, which is quite crazy. So I'm going to grab some WD. Also got to try and get that moving now. It's going to be fun, but isn't no good without it. It's pointless having brakes that don't move. They'll work to a point, but not worth firing. We will take the top one out, so we'll, just as a matter of routine. Yeah, clean it all up. It's got a little bit of grease on the end of it, but not enough to worry about. Put that to the side. And I've got a spanner the right size. Just gonna try and get it moving, which I have. I can get it to move. You have to just keep going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Keep putting the WD in. You'll probably have to do this for a good, for however long it takes basically to get it going all the way around and moving in and out. Sometimes that can take 10-15 minutes, sometimes that can take an hour. Depends how bad they are. To get moving. This one is actually starting to come out upwards, which is good news. The other side took me about 40 minutes to get it moving, whereas this one's actually, yes, nice. That one's actually moving nicely. And we'll squirt some WD in the holes. Can't leave it in there because when you compress these, that stops them. But basically, once you've got a load of WD in them, you can just get one of these, slide it in and out, turn it side to side. Same with the bottom. As you can see, there's a lot more resistance on the bottom. If that's too bad and you can't get it to move in and out nicely, and you're going to want a little sort of wire bottle brush or something like that, that needs to be moving 100% nice and easy, nice and free. That's not how we leave them when we put them back in. I'll show you what we do with them, put it back together, because we need to get the rest of this off at the moment. The pads are sitting in their little carriers and they're pretty much wedged in by the feel of things. They're not moving freely, although they should. They should have a little bit of movement on them. If you get like a scraping noise on the back end, that's more than likely what it is. One of the little carriers, sliders are jammed in and your pads are jammed, crossed. All this lot could be rusty, like this one is. And the pads are not end of life, there is a bit of pad left on them. And they'd probably go another 3 months, depending on how much use you use on your vehicle. But we've got brand new ones. If you're going to go to the extent of doing all this work, you might as well put new ones in, won't you? Like I said, they shouldn't be tight like this. They should come out and slide backwards and forwards quite nicely. Now, how I'm forcing these out, you're going to damage them a little bit anyway, so you wouldn't be really using them anyway. I'm only doing that because they're pretty much locked in. Doesn't really matter what you do to them to get them out. as they're going in the bin. And that one's worn, as you can see there, it's worn right up into an angle down to the metal. So that's because that bottom one was jammed in, so only one side of the pad was actually breaking, so that one's right down into the metal. Look. And down here you've still got a quarter of a pad left. And that clearly weren't doing its job. And that being seized, he's obviously grabbing it, and yeah, not a chance. The ones I just undone on the back of here, where I was spinning them, they're an 18mm. So you want an 18mm ring spanner for them. We know what I did to carry bolts down the back here. I'll grab a spanner for them. I'll show you what size that is, and we'll undo that as well. So as I was saying, we're down the back here at the moment. Got 15mm on. Basically, if you can get a fairly decent size one, you can get a bit of shock on it, get it moving, like so. They're not crazy tight, but they're not loose either. And then if you've got one like mine, got the old ratchet on the end, you can get the ratchet on and spin it off, or you can use a socket as well if you want to. And once you get to a certain point, you should be able to wiggle your spanner and etc. off and undo the bolts. But as I say, they're these 15mm. Make sure you put these in different places so you know what's what. Can't really go wrong as long as you go by the sizes. This one's a bit tight down the bottom. Trying to do a lot of this in real time for you so you get the idea of what's what. Obviously I'll jump some steps. The other bolt over there. You then wiggle this off. This is your carrier. This is what we were freeing up earlier in there. If you look in there and they're covered in rust and they're full of all sorts of stuff, get in there, get them all cleaned out. Just use whatever you have to use basically, but a little wire brush and stuff like that is good for some WD. And then after that, you need to just get into these little carriers here and little flat blade screwdriver, just scratch all the brake dust off. Get them as clean as you possibly can. I'll do the rest of that off camera. You're not going to watch it and watch me do that for 10-15 minutes. I'm just giving you an idea of what I'm doing. See, the top ones are really rough. You want these to be absolutely shiny, really nice metal, because they're going to make the surface the new pads to slide around. Sometimes I'll get in there with a little wire wheel and just quickly blast it over like that. You get the idea off camera. I'll just get in there and do the rest of them. Get them as mint as possible. I'll spray them down with a bit of brake cleaner and they'll be like brand new. We'll put that aside. It's now time to get this disc off. There's nothing holding it on now. Now we've undone that screw there. Get your hammer. A couple of taps on the side of the back there. And off it comes. It's got a little bit of a lip on the edge. That's obviously, you can see where it's been getting really hot, all them lines, and where it's gone, all different colours, blues, and yeah, where it's all been dragging on that bottom one. You can feel the ridge on the bottom of it is all out of shape. And it's basically no good. Looks like someone's been in here before me and put a new hub in at some point, which is quite nice. New studs. It was the same on the other side as well actually, that's quite nice. Right. Okay, so on this one today we're using a Delphi disc, which comes like this, sprayed silver. Line up the little hole for your little keyway to hold your disc on. Slide that on like so. Pretty straightforward. Get your Torx, reverse your ratchet. Your little nut thingy now should be quite cool. It should be red hot from taking it off. You gotta go crazy with these. Just get them so they're all the way on, and then just go sort of one nip, basically. And that's as simple as that. So make sure everything's spinning right. Get hold of your disc down, pull it backwards and forwards, and if you've got any movement, then you want a new hub and wheel bearing. But as I say, this one's brand new, so no problems there. We've also got a set of Delphi pads for this one. Customer wanted a decent set of quality brakes put on it. You can do cheaper. If you get cheaper, then they come like so. They'll come in just a bare metal, and they'll have a grease coating on them. Just get yourself some brake cleaner, wipe off the grease coating both sides, and then away you go. So, as you can see, I've been into this. I've cleaned up all inside there. I've been inside all of these. Everything's nice and soft, nice and sliding, and ready to go back in. So that goes in like so. You want your 2 big bolts. Just have to wiggle things around till you get lined up. That's not too hard. They're both in. If you remember, they're 15s. So just nip them up and give them a few pushes at the end. They don't have to be mega tight, but they mustn't be loose either. Alright. Next, you want a nice quality heat-proof grease. Get your sliders, put a bit in each one. Make sure they're both in there. Push the little rubber over the end. So when you move it backwards and forwards, the rubber doesn't come off the end, it just moves backwards and forwards like so. Same down the bottom. Just pull them in tight. Make sure they're moving lovely and freely. Spinning nice and soft. So when you push your brakes, there you go. Push your pads across. And that's how you brake. They're working lovely, they couldn't be any better if you tried. Right, now the fun bit. With this caliper background here. This cable. It's going to be hard for me to show you what's going on and do it, but basically this lever here on the back of your caliper, you need to press it down and hold it in with one hand while getting the handbrake cable. At the same time, it's got to go over that groove there, as you can see, and back out. So your cable's off like so. It's not too bad to do. It looks a lot worse than what it actually is. And then the next thing is you've got to get your piston back into where you want it. You can let this hang for a bit. It's a pain because the handbrake cable's in the way all the time when you're working on these. You can't bring it around the side there like that. I'm trying to get it to sort of sit so you can see what I'm doing. You're basically going to get in there with the tool and wind the piston back in. Okay, so we've got the caliper winding tool. Try and get you in as close as I can. This is the tool here. I've got disc number 7. Goes on the end like so. Wind this in so we've got some slack. That then goes it's very hard for me to hold everything and film and show at the same time. Just number 7 that goes in. See them grooves there around the edge of the rubber? Them 2 little bits on the disc number 7 go onto that. You spin this backwards, make everything tight. So it all locks into the caliper. Now this won't work if you haven't took that cable off, so don't try and do it without that cable off, because the handbrake will be locked on and this will be pressed across. Now it's a case of just keep winding until the piston goes right in. And this one's moving okay. It's a bit of a pain. It's quite hard obviously to show you at the same time, but I need 2 hands to turn it. But as you can see, it's turning and going in. You just keep winding it every time it comes off like so, because the slack runs off every time you use it. You have to reset it again, which is a bit of a pain, but that's just how it is. So these little tools work. You have to keep adjusting this one in here, all turning the whole thing. And as you can see, it's all moving. And then you have to go back again, take some slack off it, put it on again, etc, etc. And after a few spins and keeping this centre one tight, there we go, now it's starting to loosen itself off. You can catch up with it then, you can keep turning that while you're turning that. You get about a full turn before you have to catch up with the slack to keep the tool in. That's so easy to not do it and then have to bring it again. And there you go. It's got about maybe a turn left and that'll be all the way in. Slightly more. And that's it. Lovely. Okay, next up, get your new pads. You want a foil, just where the paint is all around the edge of the pads. Just wear it off. Don't worry if you're taking a bit of metal off as well, it's all good. They come a bit tight anyway, to be honest. And you end up, see where I filed the end, see there's still a little bit of black paint, and make sure that all comes off. Like so, pretty much most of it is off. Do the other end. This just makes it a lot easier to get the pads in and they actually move instead of being in there and stuck. You can force them in without doing this step, but they just get tight and then end up how they were when we took them out. They'll just be stuck in. And you'll end up with a brake that's sticking. And you get a warped disc. Here we go. I'm just going to grab some cop slips if you want some cop slip on the end of that. All the gears around the other side because I've already done the other side. Cop slip, just what, a little bit on the end of them bits that we just done. Like so. Just to give you a bit of movement basically. And then up into the top half of there. Feed it through a little bit. They are fun, there's no quick easy way of pushing them in, you just have to wiggle them about until they line up. A bit of pain today. Make sure we're going in bottom first and top second. And there you go. You can see how they're still moving. They've got a bit of movement. If you put them in and they've got all the paint on them still, they won't, they'll just jam in and they don't move, you want them to move round. They can't pull out because there's little tabs on the end of here. On the end of here, on the end of these, make sure they're sticking up, like so. And then little tabs basically stop the pad from coming out. If that was good, that's not going to anyway, the caliper will hold it in anyway, but you get the idea. And this obviously does the same in the back of that side. I won't take you through all that again. Basically just sand both sides, copper slip top and bottom, put that in there and move on to the next step. Okay, so pads in at the back there. These need to be pushed in. Again, just make sure they're moving really, really nicely, which they are. Get this. Make sure your handbrake cable comes through with it. Line everything up. These have to sit behind these sliders, top and bottom. You should be able to see the top one quite easily. You then got your little 10mm bolts around the top. And as you can see, once they're lined up, they just wind straight in, nice and easy. Lovely jubbly. Same again down the bottom. Just make sure it's lined up. If that metal brake pipe is right up against the bolt, you're going to have to very gently just bend it round slightly just so you can get the bolt in and out. I do see them like that quite often. And on the other side I had to do the same, but some have already been done, but I don't think this car's had anything done on it in these areas before, so basically got your 10mm, do everything up. I'll just show you on the 10mm bolts. Same at the top as well. Make sure they're nipped up. And then the last thing is that cable we took out. You need to force that down, pass the cable, put the cable back through. So it's like so, let go, and away you go. Now, before you touch your handbrake whatsoever, go in, pump your brake pedal till it'll go rock solid, then you can pull your handbrake. That's how you need to set it all up. As you can see, this is spinning nicely. All this paint will start to come off as soon as you get in the road and start doing a bit of braking. Within 10 miles, these will be clean, nice shiny discs, and they'll start working like normal. So the only thing to do after that basically is put your wheel on, do all your wheel nuts up, make sure they're nice and tight, put your locker back on, put your key back in your boot or wherever you keep it somewhere safe, and away you go. Go for a test drive. I recommend sort of 10-15 mile drive, keep using your brakes. Obviously, you know, purposely use them, just keep using them, and you'll feel them get better and better and better. By the time you get back, they'll be perfectly fine. Everything will be all shiny, and they'll adjust themselves in and bed themselves in, and they'll be good. So, I hope it's helped you a lot. I hope I saved you a decent bit of money. And there's something you can do on a weekend on your driveway at home, not a problem. It'll save you a good few £100, if not more, depending on what you haven't done. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon in another video. Bye for now.